Welcome to another episode of Politics Plus with Nkosi Zulu, and this is the platform where news meets passion and insights. And today we are visited again by the very familiar and popular, what I call social media activists, in the form of Mr. Pieter Kriel. Am I right?
Yes.
And breakdown Mathenjwa. So today we are just going to be dwelling into our local social politics, as well as looking into, the global the status of politics with the latest developments and trends. And obviously our motivators is the fact that these people engage so much with all the trending topics. Mr. Pete, please greet our viewers. You've already introduced yourself in the previous episode.
Thank you very much for having me. In today's discussion, I'll be joined by a very infamous Trump supporter, and hopefully we'll break it down into small pieces.
Yeah, hopefully. But today we are here again. Noma uzi introduce and sort of like recap, because you've been our guest before.
Thank you so much to the Politics Plus, the viewers at home, the team in studio. Today, as a leadership advisor, I will also touching on the issues that on the global leadership, continental leadership, and also local leadership in politics, business, politics, religious, and all those spheres. And then we look at the fact, the foundation, the sources of leadership, and qualities of principles of leadership. I thank you.
We're going to need the whole week for this episode, but it's okay. Let's dive right into it. First, let us look into our local issues. We're more especially in relation to what has been happening or what has been the developments with the land expropriation. Where we saw the Afri Forum jumping up, going to the US. And they're making a representation there in the White House, and there are a lot of factors, and there's a lot that has been said around that issue. So, what will be your take, Pete, from the stance that the Afri Forum has developed?
I think it's important to understand that, in my opinion, Afri Forum is nothing more than an opportunist movement that asks its members 200 Rand a month, who they have, I think it'd be more than 300,000. They ask them 200 Rand a month to fight for the rich paying memberships and not the poor and those less equal in townships and squatter camps.
Yeah, but do you believe they are really substantiated or validated visits to to present these issues on our behalf? Because they then do not say that they present these issues on behalf of Afri Forum, but they are saying in South Africa there is crisis. Is that validated?
I don't think it's validated, because I think crime is a statistic that reaches all demographics. Black people, white people, colored people, all people are murdered in countries as a direct result of crime. And it affects everyone, not just white population.
I want to bring in a breakdown here, Mr. Breakdown Mathenjwa, because he has been serving or acting as a leadership advisor, perhaps to multiple political leaders. In this instance, Mathenjwa, Afri Forum, if you were an advisor to the leaders of Afri Forum, if they actually even do have a leadership structure, what would your advice be towards them on this historical understanding of themselves, or the perception that they have playing a victim card? What would your advice be to them before we even go to your assertion about their visit to the US?
Honorable Chair, positively respond. I will start with today the episode of the multiracial episode. And I would like to congratulate you and the member to avail yourself to come to sit with us here. Us as black community, we are scared of white people. We grow up, when we see white people, we run away. We say, Namlo, Namlo. So in sitting like you, with you like this, I'm very grateful to participate in such a conversation.
Likewise.
And I will also promote of such things because we have kids that are going to white school, to multiracial schools, that they must see this is a part, we are a united society. We are a non-racial and non-sexist, non-discriminative society. And I thank you so much for this sitting. It represents the rainbow nation that we dream of, that we are willing to build in South Africa. Going to the Afri Forum, I personally love the Afri Forum. I personally love the Afri Forum. And we wish that when, during President Zuma came and the formation of Umkhonto Sizwe Party, we wish that if he formed something like Afri Forum, I will be very grateful. And currently, as you know, that I'm mobilizing the concerned citizen march, I wish that we have a group that us as black people or African, we are sitting down and argue on our matters. Every organization has its own problem within inside. Afri Forum might be unfairness inside there. There must be unfair treatment to other members or to levels of, it will always be there. But for personal, the perspective, the creation, the formative, that thing is mean that the collection of funds, promoting unity amongst the Afrikaners, I love it. If I can tomorrow wake up and I found the Afri Forum of the black people, I will be glad to form something like that. That will fight for us as the Zulus or the blacks especially.
I get you, and thanks for the elude, of this episode today, because it is a special edition. So now, my question to you, breakdown was very direct, is into what will be your advice to Afri Forum. The reason I'm asking, I asked that question is because suddenly they are faced with all these charges, more especially their leaders. They went to the US initially. They are faced with these treason charges that have been laid by various number of NPOs and NGOs. Now they are facing this type of, painted narrative against them. I understand your love for Afri Forum. And perhaps even with that, I still have to establish whether you love the formation or you love what they stand for. But my question is, what would you advise them from now onwards? What will be your advice as an experienced leadership advisor?
The Afri Forum, currently, the move that they made to go to Donald Trump, it was unnecessary. That's why the mistake should be accepted. It was a necessary move. It was built on mediocrity and misleading. It's nonsensical, the move that they made. But Afri Forum is the best thing for Afrikaners.
So you do concur with Pieter to say that they basically adopted an opportunistic platform.
I cannot put them in a blanket solution and say everything they say. But in this move for the US and complaining in South Africa, what land, they mislead Trump. They went there and lied. They talk pure lies, and it just doesn't make sense. So that they made a mistake there. Anyone can make a mistake. If you are a leader, you know that people make mistakes. That's why we build the constitution. If you don't comply, we punish you. If you do the right, we compliment you. People don't do right always.
Thank you. I want you I love the fact that you are mentioning that there are mistakes that are being carried through by our very own leader. Because we are still in local politics now, we've always observed, even on our first episode, there was the advocate, Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the former public protector, whom, when she was posed with this question about the stance that the American has to take towards South Africa, because I was asking her about what were the actions that were supposed to unfold with regards to the millions of dollars that were found in the mattress of the president, of the current sitting president. And she said, or she gave us an allude to say, Trump was going to treat that differently because it is crime. If any person is found with a substantial amount of dollars outside of the US. So that was the presentation that the former public protector put here. Now, I want you, because you are here now, to find out, would you treat the very same case as if it was the president's mistake, after what Breakdown has said? Leaders do commit mistake. Would you treat it as just a leadership mistake?
I think that sometimes people make mistakes, and usually when they make mistakes, they're man enough to say, sorry, I made a mistake. But I think these mistakes were deliberate, meaning that they weren't mistakes in the sense they were deliberately put there. So that money in the couch didn't magically appear there. It was put there deliberately by the president of a sitting country, right? So I think that in its all should have disqualified Cyril Ramaphosa as the president, because mistakes like that, it's not mistakes. That's doomsday aging right there.
I hear you, Prit. Pete. Yeah. Now I'll bring in breakdown because he introduced the term mistake from our leaders. My question to you, breakdown, is why then AfriForum not suddenly take up a stand and take a flight, go to the US and say, hey, in Africa or in South Africa, there are your dollars. They are sitting there. We don't know how they got there. And they are in the president's mattress. Why could they not, at that specific time, fly to America and make this presentation, which was the concern of all South Africans?
In a direct answer, as you're asking a question, I'm looking at branding on your T-shirt, say politics plus, and I'm to respond to your answer and says, what is politics? So AfriForum has played politics. Then we're gonna sit the show 3-4 hours to discuss what is politics. So then they just play politics. It's politics. They went to America, it's politics. Why they never protect Ramaphosa? It's got politics. Because politics, when we define politics, it's got political dynamics. So it's fair politics.
So you are saying it's a politics of mistakes, where some mistakes are basically covered and some mistakes are basically given.
When we teach about leadership in the religious space, we quote a verse in Timothy chapter 3. It says, a leader must be blameless. So leaders are not allowed to make mistakes. So leaders are not allowed to take alcohol, because when they take alcohol, they might make mistakes because they were not sober.
I don't mean to argue with you on this one, Mr. Mathenjwa.
Yes.
You said AfriForum made, or the leadership of AfriForum has made a mistake by jumping up to the US.
Immediately, when you say they made a mistake, they need to be arrested, removed from power, take the disc. That's what must happen. That they have failed as leaders. They failed AfriForum. They failed African South African citizens. They failed. So they dismally failed. They need to be removed from power. Once a leader made a mistake, you need to be removed from power. You're not a leader anymore.
Does the treatment supposed to go straight on the same level towards Ramaphosa by making a mistake of having dollars?
Ramaphosa is not starting with $1. Even he went to election, he got less than 50%, and they remain a president. He failed to be a leader. You can't be a leader running a company that doesn't make losses as a deficit every year, and you have failed as a leader. You are not supposed to make mistakes. If you are a coach of a soccer team and it loses 3 matches consistently, you are doing absolutely nothing. You are taking the blame. You need to be expelled.
Bring us back again to another topic.
If I may, I'd just like to put out there that Cyril Ramaphosa and Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma, these are all real leaders. They are political leaders. Pieter Kriel is a CEO, right? He has an NPO company registered as a company, which means he brings in memberships. It allows him to take donations worth millions of rands. Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, all of these people campaign through political means. He does it through business means. So I don't know what he has to do in the United States with political matters when his movement is not registered as a political movement, but as a company. It's a business.
Okay. So AfriForum is basically a company.
It's registered. It's larger company Solidariteit. I'm not sure about them, but AfriForum is registered as an NPO company, which means they have the right to bring in money and use that, which parties are not allowed to do unless through campaign reasons.
So would you have any idea, perhaps on the surface, as to when they made the representation in the US, on whose behalf or on whose mandates were they mandated, if they were mandated to go to the White House?
I think AfriForum and most white people are thrown in with AfriForum, right? AfriForum, I think, represents a very small amount of Afrikaners that are far right, but they don't class themselves as far right because they know that won't work in 2024. They call themselves centrists, But the policies they uphold, like only fighting for the Afrikaners' right to language and school and all of this, why not fight for everyone's right to everything?
Inclusivity.
That inclusivity. And I'd like to bring it back to breakdown. If AfriForum is this great, leader that we should take advice from, why can't they elect a black leader if it's so inclusive?
But I mentioned that AfriForum is for Afrikaners. If I will become and form my Ngongama Trust or Zulu what, and then I say this one is for the Zulus, I'm collecting 200 rand from the Zulus. Imagine how many we are, 17 million, 21 million.
So is AfriForum, are all the members of AfriForum Afrikaners?
Yeah, there's no black member there. How you can become a black leader and
they might be English inside.
Oh yeah,
but most of them are
not a black
white.
Would you say, like, if I wanted to join AfriForum, will they decline me?
I'm not at policy to answer that, but I don't think they will. To be honest.
Because look, I've really never came across them, what you call their business prescripts, because you basically define them as a business. I've never seen their business manifesto or any documentation or vision or mission. So I'm basically wondering if here's the man here, he loves AfriForum, he just declared. But
we want to form our own. Have we liked it? We wanted President Zuma to form the AfriForum for us.
So is it the idea that you love, or is it AfriForum as in itself?
Both.
So if you were given a chance
to form something like that,
no,
only black must join.
To acquire membership of the AfriForum.
Of us as black, I will make a AfriForum for the Zulus.
Let me define this question again. If you were presented with a chance to acquire the membership of AfriForum,
I will never want to be. I'm not Afrikaner.
But you love AfriForum.
I love the idea and the AfriForum itself because it's good for the Afrikaners. We cannot cope what is not good. It's good for them. It's fighting for them, their language, their schools, their rights.
So you basically love the ideology?
Everything.
But you wouldn't want to be a member of
I'm not allowed.
What you love?
It's for the Afrikaners only. The Constitution.
No, I think that's raised. That raised my question. If breakdown says,
I love it, I must build it. From our side, from our side. Because our problem as black people, we are so dumb that instead of us building our own klanga, we go to sit in Palito. Let's go to our farms. But now we are matured because there are people like us now in this generation. You see, there's more double stories in the farm because we were grown up. Because our parents, they thought the more they become smarter, they need to go to the white people now. We don't want to go to the private school for the white. We want to build our private school. We want to build our own thing. We want to be our strong Zulus. We must be liberated. That we must speak like President Zuma, address everyone anywhere in Zulu. That's what we need.
Do you want to come
it's good for AfriForum.
Okay, let's bring peace.
I disagree with breakdown. I'd discourage any political movement or person from creating anything similar to AfriForum because in my opinion that would only create more division among the people of South Africa. If we say that this group is only allowed for pale-skinned people, that's racist. If we say that only black people are allowed to receive economic emancipation and white people are not allowed, that's exclusion. Right? So I think the better thing is to take AfriForum to court, to have them dismantled and similar parties and movements. What we do is we create a more unified idea of what our society should look like.
We've been treated like a stepchildren in our country for too long. We've forgiven white people for apartheid. They've never asked for forgiveness. We always calling for non-racial society, but they are racist. We have always opened doors. Even they are in our country, but where they are, you are feeling we are mistreated, you are ill-treated, you are a second-grade person. And always as no, we must be united. We know now. We must build our Zulus ourselves. We must build our own. So white mustn't come here. Because always we happy when we see you. Because we love you. And even foreigners from Zimbabwe, they come because we hate when we see them. We are welcoming people. That's our humility. But other people, they not like that, my brother. And now we are tired of being wetbackers, like we are Sngangabant, you know.
So now you are basically saying you are promoting the exclusion.
Yes.
The exclusion policy whereby certain tribes can just group themselves up and that will be welcome.
That is why I'm Team Trump. Because Trump say I'm America for American. If I'm here, I'm gonna stand for the white people. That mean I'm just being, I don't know. But if I'm gonna stand here for Zulus, that's who am I.
But that is contrary, if I may, because then if Trump says America is for Americans,
Yeah.
then we call that patriotic.
Yes.
That is being
Nationalism.
he speaks on a higher level of nationalism. He does not then say,
No, the black American don't support Trump. Only white support him.
I will bring you in, Pete, because I'll need your perception on this one or your view. But what I'm saying is, if he says America for Americans, in America there are black Americans, there are white Americans,
but
there are
black-
Hispanics, there are Latin Americans, and there's all those different
Okay.
types of tribes, and they are called Americans.
If you
So
talk-
he's your what do you call him? Your leader, Donald Trump, the one that you admire so much.
Yes, my man.
He works on an inclusive principle.
No, black
and here you
people
are
don't
sitting,
love Trump.
but he loves them.
No, it's a lie. It's a lie.
Please, do you wanna come in?
I'd agree with him on that. I truly think that Trump's policies reflect the greater misdeeds of his mind. I believe to the fullest that Donald Trump does not like black people.
But Pete,
True, yes, he don't like. I mean, he don't like. It's only for white. Black are for what? Democrats.
Okay,
That's all. Joe Biden, Donald, what is Obama? That's where the blacks are welcome and they feel at home. They think they're American, they're special. But with Trump, hey, they know they wish to come back to Africa. They feel useless. They feel valueless. They feel a second grade. They feel like a stepchildren in America. And if I can be a leader and I said like Trump here now, I want to make how people feel like they are nobody here. Make sure they can go to the public school. I take all the private school.
the last time I tried putting a disclaimer in this in this session, in a session like this, but then I wanted quickly before I forget.
Why we are treated like a stepchildren in our own country?
It's fine. We'll go and
You know-
address that soon. But then I wanted to come in here.
Why you will go to China and find a Chinese become a maid? Where you will go to China and find a Chinese become a waiter? Here we are used to, in our own country, we are second
I'd
grade
have to
people.
agree with Breakdown there that the majority of South Africans
Blacks.
live as second-class citizens, while our minority, the whites and
They are
other minorities,
supreme.
they live as more privileged people,
Yeah.
much more privileged.
There is evidential. I mean, it's society, it's social injustice that is taking place in South Africa for quite long. But
That is why that is why we supported Zuma when he said he must change the constitution, because this constitution here is not fair to us.
it's okay if you let me perhaps roll off that other point whereby I feel Breakdown here sitting here is making a presentation that it's okay for particular tribes to group themselves and preserve or sort of like champion or promote this exclusion sort of like policy, or even if it has to be embedded on the constitution, he feels it's okay.
There is
and in
Orania
this side,
here, Mr. Zulu.
if you may let peace come
here
in.
where there's no black allowed. The whole place is fenced up. They got their own police. They got their own constitution.
And you support that.
What you said about it?
You support that one. Because you are basically saying people can just group themselves in their little tribes and you are happy.
Before election, we saw Dr. Opichi Mavondla of APC. He said he's putting a border gate in KwaZulu-Natal. If I can be given power like President Zuma, Unyazlwe Zulu, and King Musuzulu, if I can meet these three and say, let's sit down and independent KwaZulu-Natal, it must become a state. That should be a good thing.
Will you support this?
We got Swaziland with lesser population than us. We got Lesotho lesser population than us. We are the richest province in South Africa. We can be a country on our own. Our king, our language, only Zulus, everybody out.
I find you two gentlemen sitting here as my guest in this special edition very contradicting at some issues. More especially that one which deals with exclusion and inclusion. Because while you support Breakdown in most of the issues, but there is this one more especially about Donald Trump, where we view Trump as a world leader that is inclusive of race, irrespective of skin color. Because when he says America is for Americans, it means everyone that is there, every tribe that is in America.
No, it's not saying
is
that.
deserving to
It's
be
for the white.
less the fact that now how the blacks in America view him. But I'm a bit, I hate to say it, but I'm a bit disappointed that you guys agree to self-proclamation according to race, culture, and
Identity.
etc. What were you agreeing to break down?
No, I think let's look at it this way. He believes in a unified Zulu nation in KZN, right? How do we expect black South Africans to look at each other as brother and sister, if they have to divide and conquer into different tribes, I'm Sotho, I'm Zulu, I'm Xhosa, how can we be a unified black nation if Breakdown wants to divide the black nation, which we do?
I'm uniting the Zulus. We are the tribe, we are not an African. We are the Zulu, we are the nation. The Sothos, they must be called, there is Lesotho for them. What is it? The Botswana, they call the Botswana for them. As the Zulus, we got nothing for us. They were paid in Mashangan, they called Mozambique for them. The Maswazi called the Swaziland for they called their own countries. They came and check what is ours. And now when we said, no, let's carry ourselves now, let's kick everybody out, we are the one who's racist and tribalist.
So Orania, the people that are grouping themselves in Orania are good.
Those are foreign, came from their own country. And they must go back to their home. Why they can't pick their own nonsense here? They must go back where they came from.
Do you have anything on this, Pete?
I'd agree with him that I believe that Urania is a literal crime against humanity, because even after the end of apartheid in 1994, where Mandela said, listen, we're going to live together and we're going to fight this thing together, the South African government, as hypocritical as they are, allows Urania to exist. So we have to then ask Breakdown's question, when do we put the blame not just on Urania, who wants to be independent, but on the government who allows
it
it
to happen?
But then if the government allows you to group yourself into your little tribe called the Zulus, then
it's unconstitutional, but
is it not in their constitution?
But somebody allowed it, and you don't know why.
So you feel you need to be allowed as well to group yourself into your little tribe.
Very happy.
Okay, no, it's fine, gentlemen. I think this point has been settled. Moving on our local issue again, with regards to the vote rigging. And this also manifests from your conversation, because I feel Breakdown here, and even with you, Pete, your assertions rises way above the political formations, because we are getting into now this, what you call the tribalistic politics. What would you say about the voting system in South Africa? Do you think it serves the purpose for the South Africans, or does it serve good the society and the developmental and progression of the states?
I'm speaking for myself. This is personally, comrade. If I'm talking for the voting, if I'm gonna be going out from a political party and get vote, I get a seat in parliament, I take my child to private schools, I dress up Gucci and Louis Vuitton, I drive expensive cars with the blue light. I love that. So that's what you get by getting people to vote for you. But for you to that, I've tried to be truthful in our society. I saw that being to truth, you will never gonna win vote. With the truth and humanity, nobody gonna support you. So you have to cover up your story, present your story nice, you get the vote, you win the life. Everybody want to really live a fancy life. Everybody want to live in a double-story house. We want to live a top life. So politics is the way.
So the voting system works to serve
that purpose.
That purpose.
Yeah, but if you want to be a leader now, it's something else. They try to come as a leadership advisor. If you are going to politics, the voting system is 100. For those who want to acquire power, and power gives you power, sit nice, all the it's not a theory. Anyone who's a politician now, it's got a blue light, it's got bodyguard, is staying in a parliamentary compound there in Cape Town. They're sitting very nicely, they wake up, bacon, eggs, it's a free food, it's a free liquor, everything is free, they're enjoying life. And we don't want that, you don't want that. So today, you want to say, hey, ANC want to come inside, we'll be in, my bro. That's good for voting. But for true leadership, it's another story now.
We will discuss that one. Please, what's your take on the voting system in South Africa?
In terms of rigging, or how it works for the people?
In terms of how it works for the people, or even we'll get to the point if ever there is anything called rigging of votes. But just the political the voting framework, the system.
I think democracy in itself is flawed, right? Let's be honest, when you have 60 million people, right, and 20 million are eligible to vote, and 10 million vote for the winning party, that means we still have 50 million people who did not vote for the winning party. So even though they had a majority in voting process, the majority of the people might have not even voted for them. So that's why I think democracy in itself is a flawed system and it needs updation. Right?
Then it's good for self-enrichment.
No, I get that and I understand that. Then that means already the process, the democratic process is rigged. Because then
In
only
itself, yes.
in itself, then even further narrowing down to the 10 million that has only voted for this one party called the majority. Is there any sort of rigging or any corruption that has ever been observed?
So obviously I wouldn't know, but the info that I have looked at, I don't think South Africa is one of the manipulating states. I think South Africa genuinely has fair elections in the terms of they count the votes that have been counted. But that doesn't mean that the system is inherently or already flawed, right? Because let's be honest, the parties get different amounts from campaign funds which they can spend. Let's say the ANC receives 200 million rand, right? That 200 million rand is enough campaign money to have them win the election, right? So there's different ways. There's TV and social media, and as well as the ANC's hold onto the people, right?
Yeah.
People being afraid to
Basically
let
the
go.
capture.
So that's the only option in politics in South Africa for a lot of South Africans is the ANC.
Breakdown here, come in. Do you ever feel or observe any sorts of like vote rigging or any corruption when it comes
If
to such?
I was a president of the ANC, like say Ramaphosa, I've lost the election, like 2 people voted for me, and I control it, and I got money, and I got funds, I would rig the election. I need power. Power, bro, power is something very expensive, and power gives you influence. Power makes you influential and make an impact. Power gives you, I needed power. If I need power myself, I'm gonna fight my brother. I'm gonna rig them. In the farm there, we rig farm, we rig vote there. When you go back for IC in the farm, they will tell you that you don't vote. The people who voted and the vote that are result are not happening based on who voted for what. It's based on who's got power in that voting station. It's happening in the farm there. Don't talk about the whole country, in the farm for councillors. If we know who's a teacher, what is this, what manager, manager for the VT, what do you call him? That person,
presiding officer.
Those person counting the vote in charge, they deciding the vote. They can say, you can they change the vote.
So there is no democracy in this democratic process.
That is why there's something called party agent. If there's no party agent for Action SA in Manguza, and then there's about 20 votes for, they take it to the IFP. Because there's no one represented them. But the representative, even after they put the post, calling the numbers, they even change the numbers after. It's happening there. Ask those people who are voting, the vote VTs.
Thanks very much, Breakdown. We're going towards the end of this session, but there's still quite a lot to discuss, because now I want to move on into the last one that I would want you as my guest to drive to, will be before we leave the session. I want you to come up with solutions that you can tell the public as into what is it that we need to do as South Africa collectively in a unified approach, so that we overcome these discrepancies of these democratic processes which are undemocratic. Because you are both sitting here, we are saying there are flaws, there are, these and that within the system. But here, let us talk about the world in itself now, the geopolitics, if it ever has any influence towards our democracy, which is undemocratic, with a view into who we affiliate with, who has influence, more especially with the economic drive and political drive. Are there any exterior motive forces that basically drive South Africa's narrative to either the left or right?
I definitely think so. I think when you look at a party and who funds them, you get a very clear picture of where they're going on in life, right? So when we look at who funds the DA and the ANC, it's always the same people. And ironically enough, they're white elites who sit in billion-rand homes and drive very expensive cars and extort people for money, whilst the most poorest of people and mothers struggle to send their child to school, right?
So that means that this ANC, which we've proclaimed to be the democratic leader of society, will never represent a normal person on the streets. If then you are basically saying they are funded by these white elites that sit on those.
I think the ANC lost the title of the savior round about Mbeki's time, when things started going sideways for the ANC, when corruption took its place and when greed. One thing I've always said about Afrikaners and the apartheid government, we're all corrupt. Humans are corrupt. And Afrikaners were corrupt during apartheid. The thing is, the white Afrikaners were also wealthy. They had a better hiding it. They could hide a nice house. They could hide a nice car. But after the dispensation, black people who weren't always as privileged also became corrupt, but it was easier to see because they didn't always have that privilege. So when they got that nice house, you automatically saw it, right? Because they didn't have that privilege always.
But is it not, I will bring you in here so that we can comment about, but is it not, my question to you is it not the fact that even back then when this corruption was taking place within the closed white society, which was enrolled back then, which we called apartheid, the access to information, the media and stuff was also closed. It was so tight-sealed. So then when these black people came in and they became corrupt, they came in an era whereby you had an open space into access to information and stuff. So that is why it's very easy now to view or to see or observe a corrupt person being on the newspaper, TV and all that. Because obviously we only learn because of access to information. But with the former apartheid corruption, people, we weren't able to access back then. Because there's a difference between then and now. There was corruption, but we were just close to it.
It was a norm, right? So you had something you called, I think it was called the Broederbond. I don't know if you've heard about it, but that was basically during apartheid. That was a system which said that if you're white, you'll get this job, right? So I know you, come here and you'll come work for me. You don't need any qualifications. You just need to be white.
That's nepotism,
and that's
corruption.
nepotism, corruption, which played a huge role in apartheid, but it was hidden better because media was censored, everything was censored.
Yeah, leaving to his validation, we know we recently, 10 years ago, Vincent Mdunge, who was the provincial commissioner of SAPS, he was investigated and actually arrested for 10 years for not having a metric qualification. Now, Pete is sitting here, he's saying in an apartheid area or dispensation, people will just come and occupy top positions, leadership positions without the validation of any qualifications. What is your take on this one, breakdown?
Honorable Chair, at that time, it was a good time to live. It was a nice time to live. It was the very best time. You just have to be there and be energetic. You have to get any job. This thing of going to school, many people are educated for no reason. That time people were not educated, were living a good life. So this education is useless to us.
I'd argue, I think education is the most important thing. And I think Nelson Mandela would have agreed with me.
But my questioning is that during the apartheid, you don't need to study. But if our fathers raised us up, they built nice houses. As we are here, we're unemployed, we're driving installment. They used to buy cash cars. They used to pay, but there was no loans at that time. Now everybody's living in a loan, in an installment. Everyone's in debt and is the most highly unemployed. There was no unemployment like this at that time. So so much education, so much degrees, but people are unemployed. What is it for?
People always ask me, why do you think apartheid's economy was better than the South African economy now? And then I always say you have to remember that the economy back then and who it served 5% of the population. It served white people. It did not serve 90% or 95% of the population. So serving 5% of the population makes funds more accessible, giving it to whites, making them seem rich because they're only serving 5%.
Can you apply the same principle now because we don't have money? We postpone the budget speech, we want to increase the VAT. Can we say, hey, let's go back there and switch everybody, let's cut the RTP houses, cut the child support grant, cut the 350, cut everything. These people are wasting money and then save money and we're going to be 100. Because they leave those people there when they had no money. Can we go back there? Can we propose that?
But then it collapses the social system.
It doesn't matter because we lived before until we reach this time. We can go back. What are we going to do with the 50?
Do you have any take on his presentation?
There's no money in the country.
It feels like I'm sitting here with Pieter Kriel.
The black
I don't think going back to apartheid in any sense, whether that...
No, let's not go to, but let's save. Let's use the same system. Let's save money.
I think it's a human right to have the ability to drink water without paying for it. To have my kids go to school and receive education.
You are misleading. You are being politician now. You are lying. You are paying for everything. You're even paying for everything. You're paying for the maids in your house. As a black, we don't have maids. We clean our houses.
I need to come in.
You can't come in for water for free. You are misleading us. You pay for your water.
But water is a basic human right.
So when now you want to give us free water, you're not going to pay the water in WSSA. You want to have enough funds to run the thing. So everybody must pay for water so we can employ people to go and work and pay. So this thing of free things, we are tired of it. ANC has tried it. It wasn't working. It collapsed our economy. We need to pay for everything.
And let's use a few countries as an example where healthcare and so forth seem to be a norm. Free water, healthcare, education, like Denmark, Norway. These countries seem to be the happiest countries in the world. And the most successful. Why? Because they have social programs set in by the people, for the people, through governments. People should have the right to have free drinking water. And it's not about the ANC saying that everything's been free for the last 30 years. Because even though the ANC have given people their 350 Rand grant for free for how many years? How many people have received RTB houses that they've been promised since the 90s?
Yeah, but don't you think ANC has been doing this so that they maintain the popularity against the vulnerable society, so that they become these forever existing leaders of society, so they call themselves? Because they even proclaim that they want to rule until Jesus comes back. So then they are subjected to having these freebies given to the vulnerable society.
Jesus came back already.
I think they use it as a tool to gain voters, right?
Yeah.
Promising all of these things. But let's be honest, as three gentlemen sitting here, how much have the ANC actually delivered on the free promises that they would give out? They've not delivered on most of the promises they've made. And that's because they're a failed party. But
No. The ANC is not a failed party. The only thing we don't have is a leadership. Once we have a leader is one person who thinks for everybody. That's what we don't have.
And perhaps that is why the countries that we've mentioned earlier, like the Sweden, the Denmark and all,
they have
the reason they've got an existing substantive system is because they've got leaders that think.
Leadership is everything.
Yeah, on the basis, on the fundamentals of their society. So if they take or make decisions, they do not make such decision based on the fact that they want to exploit.
Stupidity, exploitation.
They want to exploit their society. But there is basically a question.
I can tell you one thing. There in Mlala's municipality, our new mayor, he cut off all the tenders for the road, for the creators, the veterans. I said, no, we will buy the equipment to fix the road ourselves. Because the tender operators don't deliver and sometimes you don't pay them on time. The employees who drive the TLP and the creator receive a direct salary from the municipality. It's a good development. It might take time because we don't have funds in the local municipality under QT, Kulu, the current mayor. He said cut off all the tenders for the creators because sometimes they don't have this, they don't supply it. Let us build internal, let us insourcing. Let's do it all the service. Let's not outsource. That was a good initiative by the smaller municipality. Try to save funds and do things on your own way. But this ANC government, or I'm not going to say ANC, whatever who's in government, the GNU, everybody, they said, okay, now you need water. You must write a company must bring a tender to supply us water. You buy the water for 2 Rand, you sell to the government for 20 Rand. What is that now?
Look, gentlemen, we were driving forth, and we are suddenly finding ourselves back to the local issues. Basically, this the basic needs. They speak direct to the most basic form of politics, because we were discussing the geopolitics and the direction which South Africa is always driven or wedged towards. So I'm quite excited that you mentioned Honorable Mayor Queen, and she's doing quite well. We've observed under that municipality. She's a very good friend of this show. And she watches it every now and again. So she'll be proud that you
see that you. Wow, yes. Wow.
Now, under this, on this same token of this geopolitics, I was hoping perhaps you will give me, or you were actually alluding to it, that perhaps our leaders are being given a couple of maybe millions to say, no, this is the shape that we want the country to take, perhaps by external forces. Do we not have any of that at play, whereby perhaps the leaders report to a particular, sort of like what you call caucus?
I think, like I said earlier, I think parties are mostly controlled by what the people want who donates to them, right? Because that's the cause. But I'm a realist, so I don't think that there's this kind of Illuminati sitting behind the screens and pulling all the strings, even though I think there's a huge amount of white capital within the government. I don't think white capital is controlling the government.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you believe in this GNU setup of government?
No, I don't.
You don't. Breakdown. I heard you earlier, like a minute ago or two. You alluded that Jesus has returned. When I was making an assertion about how ANC always proclaimed that they'll be in government. And
They've lost power.
So has Jesus returned?
Yeah, he's back.
So
they said they would rule until Jesus came. Jesus came back. His name is Jacob Zuma. He came in a new version.
So Jesus came in the form of Jacob Zuma?
Yes. So it's not that the only position you can give Zuma now is to be Jesus.
What is your contrast of your religious understanding towards politics and the manifesto?
Once you make politics and religion, you are causing a fight there. It's a war.
No,
so don't go there.
No, we want you to.
If you're a politician, you can be a politician and a Muslim. You can be fine as a politician in politics. Once you speak religion, now it doesn't come together. And because once you're a Muslim, you're going to tell everybody must go and worship Allah in 1 o'clock on Friday. Then you're going to fight. Once you're a Shembe, a politician, you're going to tell us on Friday you must all close our shops. It contradicts us because we're not same as you. So you cannot put leadership and religion. But what is the religion? A religion is a source of power. It's where every leader gets power. If you are a Muslim, that's what gives you power to dominate. If you're a Christian, that's where you obtain power to rule. So your character through your leadership will reflect, your charisma will reflect your religion. It's not that you use your religion to implement rules and policies of the governing.
I'd take the total opposite argument. I'd say that religion for centuries have been used to control people. It has been used to justify slavery. It has been used to justify the misogyny against women. It has been used to justify wars and crusades and inquisitions, as well as the Holocaust, right? So religion has been
Do you believe, I'm sorry to cut you, but I need to find out, do you belong in any of these religions?
No, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God.
You can carry on.
Okay, so like I said, I believe that religion is very harmful and can be there. Of course, there's been good done in the name of religion. But when we look at modern society, when we say that everyone in this country has to follow the rules of Islam or Christianity, that's directly discriminating against another person's right to practice their own religion. So I believe in the separation of state and church. Right?
So what's your take on leaders? I'll come to you as well, break down on this one. On these religious leaders that actually also affiliate themselves to politics, like the late Desmond Tutu's, the Alan Pusaks, the Moshe.
I think they're full of religious psychosis. I think they're mad because people of the 21st century shouldn't still believe in fairy tales, right? So I think people that practice being a politician that needs to lead people cannot believe that there's a man with a beard in the sky that watches everything you do, including who you sleep with and in what position you do it in. So I think it's harmful for modern society.
We have breakdown Mathenjwa here, who's a very profound Christian
But I've stopped you because you are doing politics plus. I said, why don't you mix politics and religion? It's a war. So I said, stop there. If you are stay in politics, if you go to religion, let's go to religion. Because once you go there, it's a war. It's controlling the countries. Once a Muslim, you talk bad about Muslim, you're going to get dead immediately. Once you talk bad about Shembe, now you won't come out of the door. So the religion thing is better, is far worse than politics. So don't mix. If you are a politician, you become a Muslim after politics. Because once you mix it, it's water and oil, Baba. It's a life. life-threatening.
I always say you
danger
can be a
zone.
politician, but when you walk into parliament, you put on your parliamentarian suit, not your church
Yes,
clothing.
thank
right?
you. Thank you. That's what I'm saying in a different version.
Thanks, Breakdown, and thanks, Pete, for those assertions. But the deliberations or the indulgence was obviously it surfaced because you were relating Jacob Zuma to Jesus. So I found it very contradicting.
Jesus is
now.
for everyone.
It's not for everyone. It's not for Pete. Jesus
No,
is not
let
for
me
Pete.
tell you. There's
He's
a guy.
sitting. You can address him. He's right here.
There's a guy from overseas who sing hip hop. He's the Illuminati in such an extent. I'm walking on the water. I'm like Jesus. He's sing that, but he's not a Christian. But he says, if you use Allah as that example, hey, bro, you should be out of this way by now. But you post Jesus is for everyone.
So you can't say Jacob Zuma is Allah.
Hey, you can't do that. Jacob Zuma, ushambe.
But Jesus, you can just use
Jesus is
anyhow.
for all of us. Jesus is everyone. Jesus is us. We are Jesus. It's for everyone.
Guys, thanks very much on that point. And let's move on right ahead. Anything on BRICS? We have been observing the different developments in relation to the BRICS countries. Apparently, we have been as a member state, we've been removed from BRICS. Is that
Who said that? You
it's
cannot sit here and talk lies. You cannot become fake news. You cannot talk something that's not hearsays. You can't. This is a serious media. You must take this thing serious. You can't. You don't know the thing. It never nowhere to be found. You can't be saying that in this media. You must withdraw it, Chair, because you're gonna kill your brand.
But if you do not know it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Okay, continue.
I don't know if you allow me to introduce this.
Continue to kill yourself.
If I do not know a particular topics, or if breakdown
it's
does
not
not know
a topic. That's a related.
It does not mean it doesn't exist. Do you agree with me?
Yes, obviously I agree because there's forces in this world that we don't necessarily see. So. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm basically inviting you over here to discuss the issues around BRICS before I give you guys.
But you lied. You said we are not the banana. They removed us. Where you got those lines from?
If I go back to my statement, and the way I presented it, you might have missed the fact that I presented the statement as the source of social media, and I said, I have heard.
You cannot use social media as you are a news anchor, as you are in the media space, and you are relating on social media, and you are taking things from and unverified. Social media don't verify. I just wake up in the morning, I say Jacob Zuma will be in the march tomorrow, and nobody verified it and said no. Breakdown said, hey, my brother.
I don't want to argue with you so much, but I want to tell you that the reason you are sitting in this seat today, or both of you, is because you are social media activists. So that's what makes this program social media.
And that is why you because we are lying there. And that's why I cannot downgrade your platform and to reduce you into social posts. I know what we're doing there. We are just doing for shows, for likes, for popularity. So you go and say what we say there, we're checking what we're gonna say now. We're always looking for likes. We're not nothing to make no impact, or nothing to do, we're just making it for fun.
Do you share the same sentiments, Pete?
You know what? When I started out my channel, I used to get like 10 or 15 likes. So to me, it has always really been about the message. To me, it's my passion to educate people.
So you don't educate them lies, like how he's basically has made it.
I always say, when I tell you something, take it with a grain of salt and go do your own research, because I don't know anything. Because I'm just a person. In this whole world, I maybe know a little bit of everything. So, but my opinion is strong, and I think that makes society great. Is having different opinions, like me and
it's cool.
Gentlemen, look, let us be progressive and be developmental. Going ahead, we've got people watching this show. They need to deduce from us or from this discussion. People at home, they are watching this show. They want to find out, or they want to know, what can breakdown bring us in the near future? What can we hold on to, so that we basically understand that we have leaders that actually have been invited on Political Plus. So now I'll give you like 2 or 3 minutes each, before we
Hey,
roll off.
too small for me.
It's okay. Do you want to share some of his minutes, your minutes with him? How many minutes will you?
I'll be taking 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes. So how many would you like?
No, as far as I can go.
I'll give you 4 minutes. This is on, the mutual agreement. So do you want to just tell the viewers that are watching the show or that will be watching the show as to what are the developments or initiatives that we might be observing from you going forward?
So I plan to fully continue what I'm doing, educating the masses and, sharing the truth, because without the truth about the history and the current day doings, we don't know where we're heading to. So I'll continue to fight for the impoverished and less fortunate people of this country. And even if I do get hate for that, and I've said quite a few provocative things, and if you feel offended by that, take me to court. Thank you.
Wow, perfect.
There's it, you call it, that's an invite. This is one young, confident gentleman that I've ever met. Breakdown,
The
Mathenjwa.
only thing I can promise you is that I've met this white gentleman. I'm going to be now sing Moving with the White because I loved him. I don't want people to agree with me all the time. I want people who think, because they will waste my time. Because if they think like me, it means what I've thought they would, is also it way. I need people to come with a different dimension, different version of myself, So I've liked to meet him. And I believe that meeting you today, my brother, the last time I'm seeing you. As now I'm singing in the mirror, I saw you in the march. Hey, the people are very happy. Hey, they're applauding. Hey, where you got them lungu from? Hey, you're moving, you are marching with them lungu, and you bring the society together.
You are eating into your minutes. You are eating into your minutes.
Question, my brother. I am the leadership advisor. My duty as I will take, and now I am leading a march tomorrow in the city of Durban, where I'm uniting all the political parties together. And my vision is to be a leader of a South African local government association, which is SALCA. I'm predicting that the South African politics in 2026, the one municipality will be led by NFP, one for IFP, one for DA, one for ANC, one for MK party. So all this, they need one leader, one man. So I'm building my own space, my own territory, where I'm uniting all these political parties. So when they go there and say, we need somebody to oversight all the municipalities in KZN, the candidate is Breakdown Mathenjwa. I will be traveling from municipality to municipality. I will be checking on mayors, on speakers, on councillors. Are they servicing the people? Are they doing the budgeting? Are they passing the budget right? Are they taking the meeting right? Are they all following the out? If anyone don't do right, I am the Breakdown. And the politician, they know me before they go to election. They know me before they vote for them, and I will be there. I'm no favor to nobody. I'm no favor to no political party. I will be serving the people of South Africa. I'm the future chairperson of the South African Local Government Association 2026. I thank you.
He reminds me of Gayton McKenzie a little bit, doesn't he?
Can you say that a little bit loud?
He reminds me of Gayton McKenzie.
Okay.
He's never been so happy to have a job, Gayton McKenzie.
Yeah, from the criminal
life to
syndicate.
the politicians.
Do they not all? Does he not also come across as a person that has that type of background?
No, I think.
Do you think he's innocent?
I wouldn't say he's. I think he'd be able to give a person a punch or two. I mean, he's a big guy, so I'm intimidated physically, but other than that, it's fine.
No, it's okay, gentlemen. We have come to an end of this session. Thanks, Pieter Kriel and Breakdown Mathenjwa. It was our special edition of Politics Plus with Nkosi Zulu. Hopefully, the gentlemen will visit again and share some of their more insights as matters develop. Can you give us, or tell our, okay, there's your camera. Tell our viewers to subscribe, share, and like, and follow us on Politics Plus.
I am Breakdown Kangsane Mathenjwa, a leadership advisor. I'm calling upon all politicians, business leaders, kings and queens, all those in a position of influence and power to subscribe and follow Politics Plus, because if you are just a follower, you will hear nothing on this Politics Plus. This channel is too big for you. I thank you.
Thank you.